Right. So we're not going to the gym because this is my only day off from the gym, just because I did legs twice back to back. What was yesterday? Monday I did hamstrings yesterday. The day before I did quads. So the way that I usually train, you're probably going to get to know me a little bit better as videos come out. But the way that I train, I do 6 days a week, and then one day I usually rest. On that one day, I do my cardio after I'm done with everything. So still early in the morning, not really. But yeah, we're gonna travel into town. It's a fair bit of distance, a fair amount of time to talk shit. Primarily to test out this new mic that I got from Rode, and using the GoPro with the media mode for the first time. So hopefully, not only you can hear me, but there isn't too much background noise, which it shouldn't be. But we'll find out. So yeah, gym-wise, tomorrow I have back, so I'm gonna get in around 7:30 in the morning. I'm gonna smash back. Yeah, nothing too fancy in terms of sets. I don't think you're gonna see any exercises that you haven't seen before either. I usually do like 3 exercises, 3 or 4 sets each, not counting the warm-up obviously. So that's pretty much all I need to get the pump, and obviously I squeeze as hard as possible on every single set. I do partial reps, half reps, whatever you want to call them, towards the end of the set, so I can get the most out of it, make sure that my muscles are being worked through and through. But yeah, I mean, what do I do when I usually go in? It doesn't really matter because sometimes it's busy, so I usually like to start with a lat pull down just to get that nice overall pump on my back and biceps, and even on my forearms. It just gets me in the mood quite nicely. It's also, you're less likely to get injured with that, because obviously you can just go and do bent over barbell rows, and then, well, that's a bit of a different story. You can actually injure yourself, especially if you're not warmed up properly. So yeah, I lat pull down, and then it depends, because I have 2 pull days throughout the week, and one of them is usually machines like cables and stuff, and the other one has more free weights. It's just a way that I like splitting it up, just so I can shut up.
No results were found.
Well, that was weird. Anyway, sorry, my car just fucking flipped on me. As I was saying, yeah, lat pull down, and then it depends on the day, because I have 2 pull days, so depending on the day I do, one day is more sort of cable focused, and the other day, and so less free weights, and the other day is more focused on doing free weights. So free weights, I start with a lat pull down still. It's just something that I always did, stuck with me. Now, of course, if that's taken, I might do something else. I'm not really bothered about that. Just as long as you get the squeeze and the pump, you're good. But yeah, lat pull down on the free weights day, and then I move to bend over barbell rows. I usually go up to like 90 or 100 kilos for reps. But yeah, it just depends. Rep range, again, I'm not a scientist, but if you can do 5 reps, like 5 good controlled reps, all the way up to 30, that's hypertrophy to me. I'm sure there is a study out there that says that 10 to 16 reps works best, but I think it just depends on the individual and how much weight you have on the barbell or on the stack, whatever. I don't think it's just about reps, because you can do, or let's say that you do 12 reps with 80 kilograms in bend over barbell row. if you up that to 110 and you do 5 controlled proper reps, or you're telling me that your muscles are not worked out properly, like, it's just, it is a form of a progressive overload, because obviously you get people in the morning, man, are so funny. Anyway, it is a form of a progressive overload because, well, you add more weight, and sure, yeah, I mean, you do less reps, no question about it, but at the end of the day, the weight is significantly more. And I find, this is just a personal preference, if you will, I find that if you can add more weight and do less than 10 reps, but I'm talking like, look, when I say less than 10 reps, I don't mean half-ass it, I mean do less than 10 reps, but less than 10 reps means failure. If you can do that, if you actually have the like mind-muscle connection, and you know, you're probably a bit more experienced than the average person in the gym as well to do something like that. But if you can do that on every single set, like less than 10 reps with a lot of weight, proper technique, and you go to failure in less than you've done it. You don't need more than that. I think that's a massive misconception in the fitness industry in general, that you need to do a lot of reps to do hypertrophy. It's like, there is some truth to it, and perhaps, I'll say right now, perhaps there is a slightly less chance that you get injured if you do more reps with lower weight than heavy weight but less reps. I think the most important part is to just literally just do the set properly with proper technique. Don't, especially if you do free weights, don't yank the weight like an idiot. Like, momentum is fine and you can use it, especially towards the end of the set, but be mindful that you're doing free weights. If it's a cable machine, mates, you can be more, well, you can be less careful, you can be less conscious of the fact that you're moving heavy weights because of the cable machine. But yeah, I mean, overall, there isn't a specific style of training that's more advantageous and more proper or more efficient than the other, as long as we're talking between certain parameters. It just depends on the person and what you want to do. I mean, look, some people go to the gym and they only have 45 minutes to work out, probably less than that, like 40 minutes to actually work out. I'm not talking about driving there, changing clothes and drinking a pre-workout if you do that. No, I'm talking about 40-45 minutes of actually working out. If you have that much time and you think that that's not enough, first of all, you're mistaken. But second of all, the best way to maximize your time and efficiency during those 45 minutes is to add more weight and do less reps. So if you're the kind of person that goes in the gym and you do, I don't know, 20 reps a set, I think you can add more weight. I just think it's just more efficient. Time-wise, like your time management, from a time management perspective, I think it is more efficient to just add more weight, reduce the reps down to 12, reduce the reps down to 8, but reach failure. That's the important part. I mean, it's going to be a hard set. I'm not saying half-ass it. It's going to be a hard set, and perhaps when you go and when you fail on the 8th rep, let's say, maybe you still have, I don't know, like 3 or 4 half or partial reps in you. Do them. A lot of people will tell you, oh, you don't do those because you might get injured with those. It's like, there is some truth to it, like, I'm not gonna lie, but look, if you can control the weight, half reps are not gonna kill you. If anything, in my opinion, I saw a significant difference when I first started and I started doing this shit, from literally doing a lot of reps with a relatively lightweight, and then I moved to heavier weights. But as I moved to heavier weights, obviously there was a a time when I was just progressively overloading my the stack and everything and the barbell. So I still did 20 reps with higher weight, but it came to a point where I was like, well, let me try adding more weight, like so much weight that I can't do 20 reps, but I can do 12 or maybe 8. Eventually went back down to 8, and I saw significant changes. And then there was like 2 stages. The first stage was this, just increasing the weight and reducing the amount of reps, and the second stage was doing half reps, doing partial reps, squeezing as much as possible, as much as possible in a single set. Even if the rep is not complete, I don't think it matters that much. I don't understand this rule that some people, try to impose, that you need to do the full range of motion. You do need to do the full range of motion, but when you've done your set and you can't do the full range of motion, whatever that might be, bicep curl or whatever, half rep, it's still a half a rep, and there's still benefits to it. You're still working the muscle, sure, not all the way through, but you've already done that. I mean, you've already done that all the way through 8 times, 9 times, 10, 12 times, whatever. So it's not, I'm not saying, again, this is important, I'm not saying half-ass your sets. And this is another thing as well that I wanted to talk to you about. Your mind might trick you. Your mind might trick you when it comes down to that. Because if you allow yourself to do those half reps and those partial reps, I find that sometimes you skip the full rep. So you do your 8 reps and you have 2 more in reserve, right? 2 more full reps, but because it's difficult and because you've allowed your mind to do the half reps, the partial reps, your mind goes, you know what, I'm not going to do the full rep here because it's hard. I'll do the partial one. I'm still tired, I'm still working out, right? But I'm not going to do the full rep, although I could do the full rep. So this is a trap, and yeah, be aware of that fucking trap, because it's fucking annoying. But yeah, be aware of it, and don't fall into that. You know what I mean. You will know if you don't know now. You will find out that this happens. Your mind will trick you into believing that you've done the full rep, the full set, you don't have any more full reps, blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. Do the full reps. If you can move your muscle, if you can move it all the way through, do the whole rep. Alright? And when you get to the end of it, well then look, yeah, then sure, by all means, do some half ones. Do a quarter of a rep. I don't care. It's still, to me, it's still a rep. I mean, people say, you only did this half a rep. It's like, yeah, you idiot. I know it's half a rep. But that doesn't, so what? It's still, you're still working out. You're still working out, and it's still straight after a set. I mean, you haven't even finished the set, technically speaking. So, what of it? It's a half rep, but it's still part of the set, in my opinion. And it's still very beneficial, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, people like to overcomplicate things, man. It's just, and I think this is also another reason that a lot of people don't go to the gym often, especially beginners, because, well, it's in their head, it's just such a complicated matter, and I'm like, all you have to do, especially as a beginner, is to show up. You don't have to do anything crazy, you don't have to move any amount of serious weight. You don't need straps, you don't need a belt, you don't need knee sleeves, you don't need pre-workout, you do not need any of that, especially in the first year, perhaps the second year as well. You don't even need creatine. I took it, but I'm telling you, you don't need it. If you want it, by all means, I think creatine is great, fucking great, but especially if you're a natural athlete. But look, let's be honest, you don't need it. You just don't. So all you have to do as a beginner is show up. Just get to the gym, displace some heavy weights, some weight, forget the heavy part. Displace some weight, put it back in, try to look around. I mean, look, you have YouTube, you have, in fact, Mr. Olympians telling you and showing you on a video what they do and why they do it. Look at that video, replicate what they do. It's not really that difficult, but if you don't want to do that, go to the gym, show up. This is important. Show up. And when you show up, look around. Find someone who's big. Find someone who's ripped and attractive and whatever. Look at what they do. Copy them. Ask them for help. Bro, there isn't a single person on the entire planet who will come up to me and ask me for help at the gym or for advice or for guidance, and I'm not gonna talk to him. I'll say, get away. Doesn't happen. Will never happen. So yeah, just show up at the gym and just show up. When I started, I'll need to stress this. When I started during a certain time where we were all locked in our houses. But I wasn't. But we're gonna get to that in the future. But regardless, the point that I'm making is I was going to a friend's house because in his basement he had a bench. And obviously he didn't have a lot of weights. He had a couple of, like, I think he had like 220 plates, so one at the side, and then like 10, 15, like he didn't have a lot of weight, like lots of weights and plates. And the dumbbells weren't even dumbbells. They were the kind of dumbbells that you can add weight. You have to fucking use the pins to lock the weights on the dumbbell. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. But we used those, and there wasn't a lot of weight. I'm not gonna lie, especially after a certain point, there wasn't a lot of weight. We were just doing more reps, and we were trying to find ways to hurt ourselves more. You know what I mean? Push ourselves more. That's a better word for it. And yeah, it worked. Of course, it worked. But why? We were doing it every day. When I couldn't, or I didn't want to go to him because he was far away or something like that, I had, bro, when I started, I had 2 dumbbells, like the ones that I just mentioned, the ones that you get to add plates, little plates on the sides, and then lock them in place with pin, whatever the fuck you call that. Yeah, but when I started, I just had those. I had 2 dumbbells. Now, what did I do with these 2 dumbbells? Well, bicep curls, I did overhead presses, I did shoulder presses. I used to do shoulder presses on the floor like a calisthenics athlete. It's like a push-up, but you're more upright. It's, if you know, you know. I used to do, what else did I do with those weights? I used to do the same thing over and over again, by the way, but that's regardless. I used to do front raises. I used to do legs with the dumbbell because I could load all the weight that I had into one dumbbell, and I was like 30 kilos of a dumbbell, which is, it's stupid because I'm looking back now and I'm like 30 kilos now is like a warm-up when it comes to legs for me. Not even. I lift more weight on my warm-up when it comes to legs. But yeah, man, it's like I had a dumbbell which was 30 kilos, and then I was doing goblet squats for legs, push-ups, crunches. You don't need a lot, and I saw a significant difference by just using these 2 dumbbells, and obviously body weight and, you know, exercises, body weight, kind of like a calisthenics athlete. Pull-ups, I mean, if you don't have a bar, do you really need to do pull-ups? You don't need to, but they are good. They really are good, especially if you can get the technique down. They are good. They are good for the back. They're good for your posture. They're good for a bunch of things. But yeah, you don't need a lot. You don't even need the gym. Just grab the dumbbells and do something every day. Even if it is the same thing, I don't really care. It will work. Alright, enough of my rant, because I have arrived. So I'll turn this one off now. I'll talk to you guys later then. Peace.